on, everybody? Welcome to another edition of the NBA Slate Starter Podcast. I'm Eric, joined with my buddy Ryan as we break down Wednesday's 11-game NBA DFS slate on DraftKings, FanDuel, and Yahoo. We're in the middle of this four-gamer here right now. We were just hanging out with some of the Twitter Spaces people. As we get started recording, we're going to fly through this one, hopefully take some questions. Well, not hopefully. We will take questions at the end for Showdown for other things applicable to this late-night hammer we have between the Clippers and the Nuggets. But I think the story for you tonight is the Warriors. The story for me is finding my way onto a little bit more Bogdanovich. Maybe that can pan out, but we'll see. Ryan, how's your night going?
Oh, a long ways to go. So we'll see how it ends up going about 3 hours from now. There's a big important game between the Clippers and Nuggets with we're only about 45% of the slate is done so far. So we'll see how it ends up going. But the start could be better. The start could definitely be, we could be off to a better start than this, but it is what it is.
It is what it is what they say, and that's just because it is what it is. I don't really have anything to add here. I mean, Obi Toppin's just been serviceable. He was the chalk du jour. I think it's going to probably work out more times than it's not. Milwaukee's up 14 on Chicago. That could be problematic for me. We'll see. Serge Ibaka out here playing basketball right now, just hit a three. I didn't really understand that. 5-1-1 for him here. Bobby Portis, that was the guy that I was going to be heavy on that I ended up with like 0 of once Brook Lopez was starting. Just tough for him to pay off the tag, not knowing those minutes are going to be. Just going to be a muddled front court here. Milwaukee confirmed really good at basketball, even with Chris Middleton out. Didn't find a ton outside of Giannis and outside of Drew Holiday here. So we'll keep it watching. Any final notes from this game, or from this slate, excuse me, before we move on to Wednesday?
No real notes. I mean, I was surprised to see the Warriors come in as low owned as they did. So I was shocked to see that, but it made sense with the roster build, with falling on guys like Top and just jamming in the studs made a lot of sense. But tomorrow's 11-game slate going to be a fun one.
I muted my mic again on Twitter Spaces. I apologize, everybody. Was just bringing up that, basketball. All right. If you're watching us here on StreamYard, on YouTube would be the correct place. Shout out to StreamYard, though. Great place to go make your productions at. But hit that like button, subscribe button, notification bells. Specifically, if you are not subscribed to our channel here, that being Awesemo, I don't know what you're doing. Welcome, first of all, I guess would be the right spot. But if you're going to be playing DFS, if you're going to be watching sports, we are the people who want to give you all of the great information here on our YouTube channel. So smash that subscribe button. Join us here today. And then if you're listening to us on Spotify, Apple, wherever else you get your podcast from, 5-star reviews go a long way for both Ryan and myself. But 11 games, lots to talk about. You ready to get going, my friend?
Let's ride.
To the top end. Massive news right from the get-go. So, I mean, if you guys are hanging out in Twitter Spaces, shout out to all the great people there. We've got Antonio that just joined us here, Keith. I saw Greg there earlier, but we got T. Mathis as well. Good to see everybody hanging out here in the Twitter Spaces. Glad to have you guys along for the ride here tonight as we break down Wednesday's 11-game NBA DFS slate right from the get-go. And Luka Doncic, Ja Morant, and then, of course, on a back-to-back, Steph Curry, all going to continue to be out. Those are massive pieces of news. But then, as if that isn't good enough, SGA, we're going to be waiting on questionable tag for him again, even though he played last time out. Tyrese Halliburton got added in a revenge spot at home against his former Sacramento Kings. And De'Aaron Fox on the other side of that game, it sounds like he could be out here as well. I mean, there are so many things. I mean, he's expected to play, but there are so many things that are in flux here on the top end. What I do know is Trae Young on a back-to-back gets a Detroit matchup that would be awesome if he's playing. DeJounte Murray gets Portland. That's always fun. And Kyrie Irving's on the road at 10-2, but James Harden, 9,900 against the Lakers. There's just too many good spots to look at here on the top end. Plus, you could be getting value from any of those guards being out. Ryan, what catches your attention over on the DraftKings slate for guard?
Guard's loaded. I mean, up top, you got Trae, DeJounte Murray, and then a sub-10K James Harden against the Lakers team. I do think we'll get Harden at lower ownership for the upside he has against this Lakers team. I like going to him. The savings off of Trae and DeJounte Murray should be nice, but DeJounte Murray takes on the high school varsity team of the Trailblazers. He's only 10-3, so I mean, it's an 11-game slate. You can pinpoint to any of these studs. They have tournament-winning upside. We continue to have no Chris Paul. You get Devin Booker, 9,300. You're going to like his shot volume there. It's going to be fun to go to D-Book at $9,300 as well. But key news here, like you said, no Luka. I think Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is not going to play tomorrow. And then obviously no De'Aaron Fox. I like going to Davion Mitchell against Indy. Spencer Dinwiddie against Houston makes a ton of sense as well. $5,200 and $6,400 respectively for those guys. Got to have a ton of interest there. I like definitely. They're going to be very popular, and it makes sense. And they're not necessarily 3 squares in an 11-game slate, but they're as close to a rock solid value as it gets.
Agreed. I mean, there's just so many guys, top and bottom, that we want to get to. I mean, Bogdanovich is up 60, and this whole mid-range is just going to be like written off to me unless it's opened up by somebody being out above them. I'm sure we're going to get unexpected news to go with it. Guy like Klay Thompson on a back-to-back for Golden State going into Miami. Doubt he plays there. So you take him off the board. You start adding a guy like Jordan Poole into the fray. He's 7,600 in a tough spot against Miami, but I mean, who else is going to be putting up shots there for Golden State? I mean, it's got to be him if he's going to be playing on this back-to-back. You've got guys on the bottom end that we are automatically going to have some interest in. Chris Dunn was value du jour the other night. Played 27 minutes, shot the ball just pathetically. But if you don't have Brandon Williams go completely nuts, at least he's there 4,200 and can be a serviceable option to plug into some lineups. And then Boston, I mean, you had Marcus Smart out, but last time out, but he's probably here. Kind of removes any value we had this time around here. Robert Williams probable as well. So that team fully healthy against Utah at home, not going to be a great DFS target, but just looking like we're going to have options top and bottom kind of all over the place. Looking forward to rostering a lot of the value pieces that we have there. Let's head on over to the guards over on FanDuel. Kyrie Irving 10-4, Luka Doncic 10-2. He's going to be out, so don't roster him. DeJounte Murray 10-1, Trae Young 10K on that back-to-back that I talked about earlier. You don't think Shai's going to be in, but if he is, 9,600 looks pretty appealing. This is where it gets a little bit interesting for me. James Harden's 9,800 with the small forward eligibility. Obviously can play him at shooting guard too, which is why we're talking about him here. But Tyrese Halliburton is questionable. He's 7,900. If he does not play, you are looking at 7,200 Malcolm Brogdon against Sacramento. And I don't know how you don't roster an absolute crazy amount of him over on FanDuel. Are you with me?
Yeah, I completely. Yeah, that makes a ton of sense there. I mean, similar guys that we mentioned on DK, similar studs here. DeJounte, Trae, and Harden. All priced favorably on FanDuel. Even better, honestly. Going to keep guys like LaMelo and Devin on an island. I continue to roster Cade. He looks fantastic of late. I like going to him in a decent amount as well. But it's going to be the Dallas guys down here. Jalen Brunson, $5,300. Davion Mitchell, $4,600 against Indy. We got to be very excited to go there.
Is that it? Is that the end of it? Oh, you cut out. Hello? Oh, we're back. Hello.
Yeah.
We're still hanging out. It's okay. It cut out for a quick second.
Dante DiVincenzo, I think, is someone you can go to at $4,500 as well. But Dinwiddie and Davion and Jalen Brunson lead the way here. Tough to move off those guys. $4,800 Dylan Brooks. We got to go there for sure. And Tyus Jones, priced appropriately. These Memphis guys as well, man. You can't spend down everywhere. It's just going to be nailing that combination right tomorrow. It's going to be very important because the studs are there, and so is the value. And we're going to have a lot of similar lineups, but nailing down that right combo is going to be the key to winning that 11-game slate on FanDuel. Yeah,
but over on Yahoo, our sponsor site, we get a $10 Tyus Jones freebie. That was very nice of them. Thank you so much. I enjoy it. D'Anthony Melton, $14, and Bane, $24, a little less intriguing on this 11-gamer. I think we'll have a little bit better value than going to them, although you did just see Desmond Bane go completely bonkers for 48.5. The guy can definitely fill it up from time to time, but I'm much more likely. I mean, $10 Tyus Jones is just a lock and load on our sponsor site there. But the top end guys, we got Kyrie at 43 in that same matchup. And he's shooting guard eligible. I think that's a huge difference. But James Harden up there, $49, also shooting guard. Pretty much any of these guys that aren't going to be point guards, that aren't going to get taken by that $10 Tyus Jones slot, I'm going to get 2 tons of. I will say, they keep kind of trying to intrigue us with Russell Westbrook, $27. I'm not saying he's a lock and load by any means, but it's Russell Westbrook at $27 on Yahoo. In tournaments, I'll probably get to a little bit. How about you?
You know where you should play Tyus Jones tomorrow for $10? Eric?
On our sponsor site, Yahoo would be the correct place. That's what I said.
In what contest?
Oh, in the there it is. The Awesemo, not just Awesemo, the Slate Starter exclusive 1K to first $10. Oh, look at that. Slate Starter getting their sponsored contest up over at Yahoo, and we asked for it. 11.5% management fee. Great payout structure. 1K to first, $10 to jump in. 57.5% that you're talking about in terms of the top 10 payout structure. So you're getting a little bit more towards that top 10, but with only 565 entries, please come play in that $10 contest tomorrow on Yahoo. Make Ryan and I look cool. That's always fun because I'm a nerd. He's much more distinguished. I learned that in Miami. He's a man of the finer things, but big fan of my friend over there. But yes, the Awesemo Slate Starter exclusive 5K contest, 1K to first. Come check it out. It's going to be a blast. Continue on. Tyus Jones, $10 Smash City.
Yeah, it makes a ton of sense over there. And if you're looking to pivot off of there down low, there's Davion Mitchell. He's $13. He's pretty outstanding as well. Dinwiddie and Jalen Brunson, $19 and $20. Look, I know I'm repeating these names through site to site, but that's how great of plays they are without Luka. They're just going to be running the show, and it's against Houston. I mean, how can you not love that matchup for these guys? The studs are priced appropriately here in Murray, Harden, and Trey. I have no issues if you want to roster one of those guys. I don't even mind going to Devin Booker. I don't think SGA is going to play, so it might open up things, guys like Trey Mann to look here at the guard spot. That's a guy to keep an eye on here. There's some Miami news that we got to wait on. Tyler Hero's questionable, and you mentioned Halliburton. I would make Brogdon an exceptional play at $29 as well. So great value across the board, 11-game slate. You're going to have to find that sub 5% owned darling to separate you from the chalk.
Yeah. Well, we've talked a lot about Yahoo, but it's just because it's the best site to play on for your bankroll, regardless of what it is, whatever your bankroll is. And not only that now, but you get the opportunity to get 1 free month of Awesemo Plus Platinum just by depositing $10 or more and playing in any paid contest. So if you've never played at Yahoo, period, we have a $10 contest offered specifically for you, listeners of the Slate Starter, to check out. Play with an 11.5% rate, the lowest rate you're going to find for any tournament in the industry tomorrow, period. End of story. That's 5 or 6% less than you're going to play for any of the major tournaments on DraftKings or FanDuel. Gives you an opportunity to play in a friendly contest. We'll be able to talk crap on YouTube when you guys end up taking down Ryan and I in the contest tomorrow. We'll give you a shout out on the show for sure. Whoever takes that down, both in Twitter Spaces and here on YouTube, watching this live or on the podcast, check it out. But get that free month of Awesemo Plus Platinum. We have 2 PGA events this weekend. We have MMA almost every single weekend. It would seem NASCAR is going on in full board. F1 just got added to the mix. I mean, there's so many great DFS sport to take advantage of. And you want to get all the projections, the top fighters tool, top golfers tool, top drivers tool, everything we offer behind the paywall. Get it for just $10, playing in any paid contest as a new user at Yahoo. Thank you so much to them for their sponsorship of the NBA Live Before Lock. And the NBA, I did that again today. NBA Slate Starter Podcast. It's because I just got done with Live Before Lock and I jump over here. You know what? Nobody cares. Forward we go on DraftKings. Stop shaking your head at me, Ryan. Stop it. Like, I don't even know what's going on. Other than the Bucks are up 19. Not great, Bob. Not great. And somehow Golden State's up 12. Well, not somehow. Orlando sucks. We got LeBron James 11-6 on the top end. Kevin Durant 11K here. Jason Tatum 10-1. I mean, I felt pretty good about LeBron exposure yesterday. That went well. Everything else went poorly here. But it looks like you might get some Orlando value on a back-to-back. We could be waiting on some of that here for that kind of tier. But RJ Barrett probably going to lose a little bit of his shine. If Julius Randle comes back and plays here, 7,900 for him. I still think that's kind of in the realm of playable. Man, these spend ups up top here at forward do not look nearly as good as what the guard spot did, top to bottom. Help me kind of make sense of some of this mess here at forward.
Yeah, it's a forward 11-game slate. There's going to be some news that pops up, and immediately that will be the next best value to look at. It's just how 11-game slates go nowadays in NBA DFS, especially late March. But up top, you get the likes of LeBron James taking on Philly. It's going to be a fun game between a bunch of superstars. There's going to be Embiid, LeBron, Harden. And you get KD, who's 11K without no Kyrie. No, Kyrie will be there tomorrow at Memphis, I believe. So Kevin Durant's not as appealing, but he can still get it done. You get a 10-1 Jason Tatum. Boston Celtics are the hottest team in the NBA over the last 2 months. They just simply don't lose anymore. And they're just rolling on all cylinders right now. So he looks outstanding against Utah. I have no issues going to Tatum. If you get no Tyler Hero, you do get Jimmy Butler taking the Golden State team on a back end of a back-to-back. Got to be interested going there. I know we didn't get to the roster. We didn't get the opportunity to go to Julius Randle, but he'll get a Charlotte matchup tomorrow. And that's a good get right spot for him. I do think he's going to play. I think they just rested him today. Spending down here, targeting the Luka situation. Reggie Bullock, I know, not a ball-dominant type of player, but he might still be involved in the offense getting those threes. He's been playing so many minutes for this Dallas team. Where you get the 3-point bonus on DK, you can definitely go to Reggie Bullock. I think you can definitely consider a Maxi Kleber as well, $4,100. Spending up a little bit more. In Sacramento, no Domas Sabonis. So Chimezie Metu should be in play. And forwards of like Trey Lyles might be a consideration. It's an Indiana matchup where I think a lot of these guys are going to get some minutes for Sacramento. And Metu and Lyles are the guys who stick out right now in terms of value options, but we'll have to keep an eye on the situation. I think Harrison Barnes at $5,500. I think he's $1,000 too cheap without both Fox and Sabonis in the picture. He looks outstanding as well. Just bouncing around a little bit. There's so many great value options. I mean, so many high-priced studs missing from their teams. Should be pretty much just like got to nail the combination of value, right? I think you'll be in good shape. If there's no SGA, Darius Baisley, $5,500 makes a lot of sense as well.
Yeah, this Sacramento team is going to just be insanely popular. As you said, Sabonis not traveling for 5 days here on this 5-game road trip that they have going. De'Aaron Fox not expected to play. So against Indiana, it's going to be all the Sacramento you can handle throughout the entire team. Could be even on an 11-game slate. I hate that it's the first game right out of the get-go. You got to make some pretty firm decisions in terms of late swap, in terms of how you want to take advantage of it. We only have 2 games that are really in the quote-unquote late night season or the late night session at 10 p.m. Eastern time. Philly at LA, and then the Lakers specifically, and then San Antonio at Portland. There's going to be some fantasy assets you want there, but for the most part, you're going to need a lot of Sacramento in your lineups. That's just kind of the way that it is. Metu and Damian Jones and all of these guys on the front court and in the backcourt, Davion Mitchell. It is back. It is coming right back to it. LeBron is 11-2 on FanDuel. Kevin Durant's 10-7. James Harden's 9-8. Going to be a 9-8 James Harden season for me, I think, for sure. Although LeBron and Kevin Durant, nothing you can really say about that and what their ceilings look like. But Durant getting Kyrie Irving back in the picture. Seems like Kyrie's just going to try to carry teams when he's going to any of these places where, he doesn't have to sit out. So that's cool. Jason Tatum's 9,400 down there a little bit further. And you said it before, they're playing the best basketball out of any team here in the league. But I think my eye really gravitates to some of these guys at the power forward position. You talked about all the Sacramento Kings, but even in this mid-range, if Wendell Carter is playing on the back-to-back, I suppose he should. 7,700 up against an OKC front court that has guys that would never be in the NBA on any other team. You've got a Keldon Johnson. 6,900 looks ridiculous, but he's been playing some real ball here of late. Olympic gold medalist Keldon Johnson, if you will. There's definitely some viability against a terrible Portland team. And then Portland on the other side, Trendon Watford and all these other guys. I do kind of like the forward position a little bit more than I alluded before. But FanDuel, where are you kind of gravitating to, Ryan?
Yeah, FanDuel a little different, obviously, than DK. You can roster up to 4 of these guys on most nights, it feels like. But, I mean, similar guys are going to be played just because of the guys who are missing and the news that came out later throughout the day today. Just trying to take pricing mistakes over there in Dallas. Power forward guys include power forward, small forward guys, Dorian Finney-Smith, Maxi Kleber. Even Dwight Powell was in play. All those guys in a Houston spot, they're all priced extremely favorable. In Sacramento, you get Trey Lyles. He's only $5,000. These guys are all outstanding value options, and the best one of them all might be a Dylan Brooks at $4,800. So keep an eye on that situation there. If we get no Andre Drummond, I think you can go to Claxton again. But in the There are better value options than him. It just gives us the opportunity to spend up. I believe we already got. I'm not sure if Jeremy Grant is out yet. Is Jeremy Grant ruled out?
No.
Okay.
No.
Jeremy Grant. Okay. I think if Grant plays, he's a fine option to go to. But up top, Jimmy Butler's very cheap at $8,200. I have no issues going to him. Tatum and Harden look outstanding. Kind of puts 11-2 LeBron and 10-7 KD on their own island, where I don't think that would be very popular. So with the value there is, I mean, they're not Superman value, but they're such strong, low-priced options where it's just force your hand not to spend all the way up on FanDuel, maybe just like not really targeting those 5-figure guys on the forward spot, which makes it a very intriguing option to like spend up for LeBron and a couple lineups here and there just to get some exposure to his upside that he's been on of late.
All right, to Yahoo, our sponsor site, we go LeBron 54, Kevin Durant 52, Jason Tatum 45. As you said, kind of pretty darn expensive. On Yahoo, you pay for nice things. The guard has elite value all over the place. Lots of spend up options. So I think LeBron might be a guy that I might get to in more lineups. Him and Embiid in that same game might be two studs where if you're going to play all the value and all the land, I don't mind pairing those two up together. RJ Barrett, $32 here going up against Charlotte. Miles Bridges on the other side, identical number. Not super enamored going that direction. But I will say, if Klay Thompson isn't going to play and we know Steph Curry isn't going to be out there, not only is Jordan Poole a viable guy, but we got to be looking at, Draymond Green probably sitting here as well. You've got Jonathan Kuminga at $13, who I think is squarely going to be in the realm of playable there against Miami. Yeah, worst matchup you could pretty much ask for, but I think all the opportunity could be there for him. What do you think about him and the rest of this forward position on Yahoo?
Yeah, looking at the forward spot on Yahoo, well, much better pricing at times here. To spend up makes it more difficult, but Jimmy Butler 35 looks great. Spending down here, $11 Chris Dunn. He looks pretty outstanding. He's been playing a ton of minutes of late for this Portland team. You do get a $10 Chimezie Metu, a $10 Aaron Wiggins if there's no Shea. He's not exciting. I'd rather spend $5 more and land on the guys of like Lyles and Dorian Finney-Smith here. But you mentioned some guys in Golden State. I think Harrison Barnes is going to be slept on tomorrow quite a bit at $18. But just keep an eye on the situation. If there's no Halliburton, I think Buddy Hield's back in the picture at 23, taking on a former team in Sacramento.
I'm a big fan of that. Revenge narrative, I'm not a big fan of those. But they apply when it's LeBron James going into Cleveland. Not really revenge, so more so than I'm about to show you guys what real basketball is like again. And there you go. That happens from time to time. To the center position on DraftKings, once again, smash the like button, subscribe button. Subscribe button goes a long way for us here too on YouTube. So check that out for Ryan and myself here. Join us here at Awesemo. That's great. And shout out to the Twitter Spaces community. We have hanging out with us. Robert joined the fray here. Robert Page doesn't think that I believe that we landed on the moon. I do believe we did. It's just that I'm very upset that I can't do laundry in less than 3 hours, and the year is 2022. Pisses me off to no end. Brian Tran hanging back again. 3 days in a row questions. Ooh, I think we can have those. We're excited to build some showdown lineups. Hopefully you guys are as well. We got Greg Coffin hanging out, giving us the crying emoji thing. It's because I'm funny sometimes. Not all the time. Usually, actually, rarely, but I'm funny once in a while. Wouldn't you agree, co-host Ryan?
I'll give it to you here and there.
Thanks. That sounded sexual. We're going to go to the top end here and round it out. LeBron James is 11.6. Joel Embiid is 11K. 11K Joel Embiid is going to be very popular, I think, on this slate going up a front court of Dwight Howard. Dwight Howard is going to stop him. LeBron James is going to start at the 5. Good luck finding an answer for Joel Embiid here in this spot. 11K is too cheap for him here on this slate. I'm going to find past lots of him. Karl Anthony Towns, questionable again. He keeps playing through these questionable tags. Lost a close one to Dallas. That was sad as a Timberwolves fan, but I think we'll get back on the train here. We got Christian Wood, who went completely berserk. Every other game, he's going to put up like 60 plus. That's pretty neat. I think you should have tournament exposure at 8,300. DeAndre Ayton's at 7,300. Capella 65 on a back-to-back. We'll see how all of this pans out here. But my boy, Jakob Poeltl, I don't know what's happened to the productivity. It started to wane off a little bit here as the season's come to a close here, but he's been in some foul trouble randomly at the beginning of games. Has had some serviceable stuff behind him where, they've gone smaller in some spots. But against Portland, 6,400 might be kind of a mid-range contrarian option for me. What sticks out to you at the center spot on DraftKings, Ryan?
Yeah, looking at the center spot over here on DK, I mean, Embiid looks fantastic to spend up on, but I do think center's just going to be occupied by one Damian Jones. He's $3,700. He's going to play a lot of minutes for the Sacramento team. So he's going to be very popular tomorrow leading off that slate. So yeah, I better hope that he pays off at that price tag. But spending up here, you can play LeBron at center. You can also go to Karl-Anthony Towns at center. He started off very slow. Had a disappointing game against Dallas the other night, but no issues if you want to go to him. Rudy Gobert, $7,800. Makes a lot of sense to fall on. Jakob Poeltl, $6,400. I think in a Portland spot, gotta love it against Portland. But outside of that, DeAndre Ayton, continue to go to him against Karl-Anthony Towns, $7,300. Was disappointing against Sacramento due to foul trouble as he fouled out very early. But I like going back to him on this slate. But it's Damian Jones' show over there in DK for sure.
No doubt about it. That is the guy. Damian Jones is the guy tomorrow. Fingers crossed. And Joel Embiid. Those two guys, I think, can just they're so easy to unlock. Joel Embiid's so easy to unlock on this slate that I'm gonna have a tough time not paying up for him. Even over on FanDuel, one center to rule them all, one center to find them. Shout out LOTR. Excited for your TV show on Amazon. But Joel Embiid, $11K. Karl-Anthony Towns, $10K. We've got Christian Wood, power forward center eligibility up to $8,700. Nice to see them starting to give him the bump that he deserves for that tag there. Further down, you get Ayton, you get Capella, you get Jakob Poeltl, you get a Goga Batadze, 6,200. That is just outrageous looking at that number here. But Mitchell Robinson, we'll see how he kind of finishes out the evening here. Looked like it was off to a disappointing start here, but somebody at 5,800, maybe I'd take a shot or two on. But Andre Drummond, 5,500. If he's going to be good to go here in this spot, he's going to be very popular, and rightfully so, over on FanDuel. Ryan, what sticks out to you on the blue site?
On this 11-game slate on FanDuel in the center spot, if you nail this tomorrow, you're in good shape, especially an 11-gamer. But spending all the way down here, it's going to be tough not to like guys like Dwight Powell. I think even a Jakob Poeltl at 6,200 looks outstanding. Up top, I have no issues if you fall on Embiid or Cat, but I just think the value here will help you end up raw points elsewhere. But tough to have any gauge or any sense of what the ownership will look like at the center spot here. You do get a sub 4K Chimezie Metu. He's all right. Robert Williams should play at $5,900. I know it's a Rudy Gobert spot, but Robert Williams has shown the way to pay off that price tag quite a bit. Kind of buying him low right now, so I like going to him. Jaren Jackson Jr., 6,600 versus Brooklyn. Power forward and center eligibility seems like a strong option to go to. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what the ownership looks like with some of those guys all the way at the bottom, even Damian Jones. Priced up a little bit more here, 4,700. Not as great of a play on DK, but definitely in play still.
Obi Toppin, fifth foul. 2:29 left in the third quarter. Sad face. Winky.
I mean, how much did he get to? He's at 24.
Oh, that's good. Never mind. I haven't had this pulled up because normally I have my iPad here. The iPad is doing the TV thing. I've got the Twitter Spaces, which Jason Floyd just stopped in for a quick second to say hi, and now he left. I just gave him a shout out, and now he's left. One of the great hosts here at Awesemo. So what's up, my guy? We've got Jeff now joining the fray. We've got so many other greats hanging out here. Keith, I think I gave him a shout out earlier. Joseph, that's Kool-Aid, man. That's good stuff. Delicious. John Church as well. Shout out. John, good people. Let's head to Yahoo. Let's round this out. Then we will talk some showdown or whatever other questions you guys want there in the Twitter Spaces. One of the great benefits of hanging out with Ryan and myself as we are doing this, F it, we'll do it live. That's what we do. Yahoo, center, Joel Embiid, $54. I want a lot of him. And then on the bottom end, I want to roster a lot of Damian Jones. How about yourself, Ryan?
Yeah, I mean, that's the center slate for you tomorrow on Yahoo, spending up. Or you can also spend down to guys like Damian Jones, Maxi Kleber, spending up a little bit more and falling on guys like we saw Dwight Powell do a lot of damage, $14 against Houston. You got to have some interest there. Finally paying off from that Jay Crowder trade. He was in the Rajon Rondo trade many, many years ago. I believe Dwight Powell was. But I really like DeAndre Ayton, sub 30 and $31 Gobert. Look outstanding. Anyone taking on Portland is in play. Jakob Poeltl, $26. Got to have some interest there for sure.
That's going to do it. That's the Slates, boys. That's the Wednesday night, and girls, of course. We had Leslie hanging out. Shout out to our former co-host that was hanging out with us in the Twitter spaces. She can't hear anything that I'm saying, but whatever. It is what it is. Guys, let's get to the Twitter spaces. Let's talk some showdown. Let's build some lineups. Ryan, any final words for the people as we get off of the Slate Starter podcast for Wednesday?
Yeah, please do enter that Awesemo NBA Slate Starter exclusive contest on Yahoo. You can find that on my Twitter. I've shared the link. So definitely enter that contest on Twitter. You can find it on, I tweeted it out about an hour ago, but it's $10 to enter, 5K prize pool, 1K to first. Definitely have some fun entering that contest. Do play some in other contests, but make sure this is the first contest you enter on Yahoo. It'll go a long ways for the podcast if we can get this filled up. Really appreciate you guys' support, 5-star reviews, and hit the like and subscribe button for us, please.
Appreciate you guys. This is so much fun again. Looking forward to hanging out after the show, but he's Rinpack. He's one of the top players in the world. I'm Eric. I'm one of the top players in Twitter spaces, I think. I'm not sure. Maybe not. We'll see you guys later.